What comes to mind when you hear the word angel? For many, it's a beautiful human-like figure with wings, a halo, and a glowing robe, a comforting presence from heaven. But this familiar image is really just one interpretation from one specific tradition that has come to dominate pop culture. The real spiritual landscape of celestial beings is far more vast, strange, and diverse. Across the world's religions, the concept of a non-human entity that serves as a messenger, warrior, or agent of the divine is almost universal, but the details are wildly different. So, what does each religion actually say about angels? Are they always benevolent? Do they always look like us? And do religions outside of the Abrahamic faiths even have them? Today, we're going on a deep dive into the angelology of the world. We'll move beyond the greeting card image to explore the fierce, the bizarre, the philosophical, and the profound ways humanity has envisioned these intermediaries between realms. You'll discover that the idea of the angel is a mirror, reflecting each religion's unique understanding of God, the cosmos, and humanity's place within it. We should start with the tradition that has most shaped the Western image, Christianity. Christian angelology is rich, hierarchical, and complex, drawing heavily from Jewish tradition and later systematized by thinkers like Pseudo-Dionysius in the 5th century. Angels are created, spiritual beings of pure intellect and will, who serve God and act as messengers to humanity. They are organized into a famous hierarchy, or choirs. The highest tier includes the seraphim, who are described in the book of Isaiah as 6 winged beings crying, "Holy, holy, holy." The cherubim, often depicted as powerful hybrid creatures, not chubby babies, and the thrones, associated with divine judgment. The middle and lower choirs include dominions, virtues, powers, principalities, archangels, and angels. The archangels are the most familiar: Michael, the warrior and protector; Gabriel, the messenger of the Annunciation; and Raphael, the healer. A crucial Christian doctrine, stemming from a passage in the book of Revelation, is that of the fallen angel, Lucifer, once a beautiful high angel, who rebelled against God out of pride and was cast down, becoming Satan. This introduces the duality of angels as beings with free will, capable of choosing eternal service or eternal rebellion. For Christians, angels are not to be worshipped. They are ministers and guardians, with a primary role to glorify God and, at times, to guide and protect individuals and nations according to God's will. Islam shares this Abrahamic foundation but presents an angelology that is even more integral to daily faith and more vividly detailed in its scripture, the Quran. Angels in Islam are created from light. They have no free will in the moral sense. They are incapable of disobeying God. They are perfect servants, carrying out specific, cosmic functions. The archangels are paramount. Gabriel is the angel of revelation, who brought the Quran to Muhammad. Michael is responsible for natural forces and sustenance. Israfil is the angel who will blow the trumpet to signal the day of resurrection, and Israel is the angel of death, who gently separates the soul from the body. Every person is assigned to recording angels, the Kiram and Katibin, who note every good and bad deed. Munkar and Nakir are the angels of the grave who question the deceased after burial. Beyond these, there are countless angels holding up the throne of God, praying in temples, and managing the functions of the universe. A key distinction from Christianity is the absolute prohibition against seeing angels as anything other than servants of Allah. They are not intercessors, and the idea of a fallen angel like Satan is different. Iblis Satan is not a fallen angel in Islam but a jinn, a being created from smokeless fire who did have free will and chose to disobey. This sharp distinction between angels and jinn is a fundamental point of Islamic theology. To understand the roots of both Christian and Islamic angelology, we must look to Judaism, the source of these concepts. In the Hebrew Bible, or Tanakh, angels are often less individualized and more clearly functioning as extensions of God's own presence. The Hebrew word malach literally means messenger. They appear in human form to deliver announcements, like the 3 visitors to Abraham, or to wrestle with Jacob. They are God's agents, carrying out His will in the world. There is no detailed hierarchy in the canonical Jewish texts. That development came later, in the post-biblical period during the Second Temple era and in mystical traditions. This is where we see the elaboration of angelic names and ranks, especially in texts like the Book of Enoch, which, while not part of the official Jewish canon, deeply influenced later Christian and Islamic ideas. In Jewish mysticism, or Kabbalah, angels become part of a complex metaphysical system. They are associated with the Sephirot, the emanations of God, and with specific functions in the universe. The archangels correspond to directions and elements: Michael south, fire; Gabriel north, water; Uriel east, earth; and Raphael west, air. A key Jewish perspective is the emphasis on angels as purely functional. They are not objects of prayer or veneration. The focus remains squarely on the relationship between humanity and God, with angels as part of the divine bureaucracy. Now, what about traditions outside of the Abrahamic family? Do they have angels? The answer is yes, but they are conceptualized very differently. In Hinduism, the closest equivalents are the devas. The word deva means shining one, and they are celestial beings who reside in higher, more pleasurable realms of existence. However, they are not immortal in the eternal sense. They are subject to the law of karma and the cycle of rebirth. They are powerful, generally benevolent, and often associated with natural forces: Indra rain and kingship, Agni fire, Vayu wind. But they are not messengers of a singular, supreme God in the Abrahamic sense. They are more like gods in their own right within a vast, polytheistic hierarchy, though in philosophical Hinduism, they are seen as manifestations of the one Brahman. They can be appealed to for boons, but the ultimate spiritual goal is to transcend even their heavenly realms to achieve moksha. Another fascinating class of beings is the Gandharvas, celestial musicians, and the Apsaras, celestial dancers. So, while there are angel-like beings of great beauty and power, they exist within a fundamentally different cosmological system of cyclic time and multiple heavens. In Buddhism, the terrain is similar but with a clear philosophical twist. Buddhist cosmology includes many heavenly realms populated by radiant, long-lived beings, often called devas. Like in Hinduism, these devas are not eternal. They are trapped within samsara, the cycle of suffering and rebirth. They live for eons in bliss, but when their good karma runs out, they are reborn in a lower realm. Therefore, from the Buddhist perspective, being a deva is not liberation. It is still a form of deluded existence, albeit a pleasant one. They are sometimes portrayed as listening to the Buddha's teachings, and some, like the deva who reminded the Buddha to teach after his enlightenment, play a messenger-like role. There are also protector beings, like the Dharmapalas in Tibetan Buddhism. Fierce-looking entities who are enlightened beings manifesting in wrathful forms to protect the Dharma and its practitioners. Ram obstacles. They are more analogous to archangels like Michael than to the serene devas. The key insight here is that in Buddhism, no being, no matter how celestial, is an object of ultimate refuge. The ultimate goal is to achieve enlightenment beyond all realms of existence, including the heavenly ones. To complete our global view, we should look at one of the oldest influences on the concept, Zoroastrianism. This ancient Persian faith, founded by the prophet Zoroaster, had a profound impact on later Abrahamic angelology. It features a clear dualistic cosmology between Ahura Mazda, the wise lord of light, and Angra Mainyu, the destructive spirit. Serving Ahura Mazda are the Amesha, the bounteous immortals. These are not quite angels and not quite archangels. They are more like divine attributes or emanations made manifest concepts like good mind, truth, and devotion. They watch over different aspects of creation. Beneath them are the Yazatas, beings worthy of worship, who include figures like Mithra Covenant and Anahita Waters. These are closer to the angelic host, acting as intermediaries and guardians. The entire framework of a supreme good God, opposing evil force, and a hierarchy of benevolent spiritual beings likely provided a template that Jewish exiles in Babylon encountered and which then filtered into their own developing angelology. So, what does each religion say about angels? Christianity sees them as a hierarchical host of willful servants, with a dramatic story of fall and redemption. Islam sees them as flawless, obedient instruments of Allah's will, integral to the machinery of faith and the universe. Judaism sees them primarily as functional messengers of God, with mystical traditions adding layers of complexity. Hinduism and Buddhism see them as glorious but temporary inhabitants of higher, karmic realms, not the final spiritual destination. And Zoroastrianism shows us a possible ancient blueprint for the entire concept. The common thread is humanity's intuition of a reality beyond the physical, populated by conscious forces that connect us to the ultimate. Whether as warriors, accord keepers, divine attributes, or blissful devas, these beings give form to our hopes for guidance, protection, and a cosmos filled with conscious meaning. Their diversity doesn't weaken the concept, it reveals the limitless creativity of the human spirit in imagining who or what might be listening on the other side.